everybody, Tyler here. I've gotten some questions of late about the Graphic Standards Manual, so I just thought I would address some of those here. First of all, you guys did a very good job with the Graphic Standards Manual, and I was pleased with what I saw. Some students have asked why it's taken so long to get them graded, and truth be told is that from the moment that I woke up until just about the moment that I went to go get my kids during the school week, and then from the time that I got home to school to the time when I went to bed or fell asleep with a laptop on my lap, I've been grading for this entire break. Boo-hoo, Mr. Dockery. I know you guys have been working really hard too. However, the reason that it's taken so long is because with an average of 20 pages for every piece and 2 full classes of Graphic Design 3 online, it's just really difficult to get in there. It's a time-consuming process. So please have a look at your PDFs in the grade book. If you highlight your PDF on the side and choose the download mark, you should be able to see that one of the download options you have is download with annotations. So if you don't want to look at it in Crocodoc in the Blackboard menu, you can pull it down straight through there and everything should be in working order. All right, so if you looked at the grade that you got and you were very happy, that's good. We had a fair amount of A's. We had some B's in there. We had some lower grades too. So just be aware. If you didn't get the grade that you want, it's probably one of a few things that has popped up. And again, I urge you to go ahead and look at your grade comments and see what those are. And then I urge you to look at your PDF and see the annotations specifically. But more likely than not, it fell into one of about 6 or 7 issues. Number 1, spelling. You know that InDesign has a spell check. You probably learned it in Graphic Design 110. Now, this is the big typography piece for this class. So for those of you who hadn't had much time to work with InDesign over the last couple of years, this should have been a good reminder for you and a great way to get back into the swing of things. But under Edit, Spelling, check spelling, you have the opportunity to check all the spelling through all the stories in the entire 20-page document. And if there is a word that is a real word, like pixelation, but it doesn't exist within your dictionary, you have an opportunity to add that or to remove it or to fix it or replace it. So please make sure that you did that. Typically, with any portfolio level project, a spelling error drops you a letter grade. So for those of you who had spelling errors in the double digits, first of all, please use spell check. Second of all, please consider how you are checking your document. If you're getting rushed towards the end, that's just going to cause a problem. So grammatical errors are another big one. Every grammatical error knocked you down a peg. Type errors. It is important to note that as a graphic designer, you are elegant. As a graphic designer, you pay very close attention to what you're communicating and how you're communicating it, and you are not a secretary. They could hire a secretary for much cheaper than they can hire you, and a secretary can produce secretary-style work. What that specifically means is typographic issues like horsey text. Don't do horsey text. Body copy should be within the 9-point to 11-point range, and it shouldn't get any bigger than that. A secretary has to use 12-point type when they work. You don't do that. That's not for you. All right, 2 spaces after a period. This is not high school English. There should be no one coming along behind you to use the 2 spaces after the period, which is really there so that a teacher somewhere can mark what kind of text corrections you need to make or what you need to think about. You will either do all the copywriting yourself, in which case you are fully aware of how it's right and why it's right and you don't need an editor, or you will receive it from the client, and the client will let you know. Okay, also hyphenated text. Don't hyphenate your text. You are a communicator. Make sure that every word meets where it is supposed to. Other minor typographic errors might include rivers, huge spaces in justified text, or problems with your tabs. The other big error that ended up rolling through here, I guess the last three really, is inconsistencies. The locations of type or graphic elements from one page to the next. Remember, in InDesign, you can set a master page, but you can also copy an item and paste it in place so that it's paste it in place so that every document page it is always in the exact place. If I went from document page to document page and your materials jumped back and forth, high, low, left, and right, that made really inconsistent reads. It was difficult to work with. Don't do that. You may have inconsistent fonts from one page to the next, or inconsistent type sizes from one page to the next. You may have had leading issues or left side margins within your type that were inconsistent, or you could have had tabs that were inconsistent. So with a nice line of leads on this side, you may have bobbed back and forth within the table of contents page. Make sure to give that stuff a really good look. The most egregious error, setting your own rules and then breaking those rules. You set out how much runaround you needed for the logo, and I'm sure that you did that by putting the logo in a page, filling the page with text, and then using the runaround or word wrap function to space out until it looked perfect, and then using that amount. However, if you said it needed a quarter, if it said you needed a quarter inch of runaround every time, but then the next page or the previous 5 pages, you did not use that runaround, you're sending a very mixed message. You're telling people to use this space, but then you're not using it. Don't set your own rules and then break it. Some of you said the colors that you could use were red, white, and black, but then you used blue or purple for an unexplained reason. Some of you said you could only use certain font faces, but then you used a completely different font face for the document. That's a problem. Some of you said the type size should only be a certain size, but then you used that exact same type size for some headlines. All kinds of different things having to do with leading or the use of the flame after saying that the graphic elements could not be broken apart. And finally, things that might have brought your grades down have to do with specifics. If you showed a business card, a letterhead, envelope, mailing label, whatever, a picture is not good enough. Remember, everyone needs to be able to completely and wholly rebuild this item only from the pictures that you are providing. I'll try to see if I can't show a good example of one right here. Boy, I hope that works, because if it failed, I just pointed for no reason. Anyways, you need to always show what the spacing is from the edge of the document, what the size of the logo is, the spacing from the edge of the document or the logo to the text that you're using. What is the size of the text? What is the font of the text? What is the leading of the text? How much is the spacing between one line and the next line, so that we can always make sure that if we just tear that one page out and send it in an email or scan it or just hand it to the printer should be able to make a completely new document that looks exactly like the ones in the office. Anyways, that said, I was pretty pleased with the projects. I liked what I was seeing. I liked where it was going, and chances are, if you got a comment that was this long, chances are fixing those things in the comments is just a bunch of picky little stuff, and as soon as you get it fixed and make sure that it looks right, and of course done a spell check, then your document will probably be on its way to getting a great graphic design portfolio piece. Again, this is Tyler Dockery. Thanks for watching my video. Blow up that like button, and by all means, please design your future. Thanks, and I hope you're having a great week.